you think that she is like gonna get over, but then it's just out of like, shut up, Meg. Like,
Yeah. Dude, there are instances where Peter will just walk over, grab her head, and then just like fart on her face. Dude,
dude,
it's so good.
when he picks his nose and he's like, love you. Everybody, welcome to One Set.
Hey, guys, welcome to One Set. We're doing this right now. Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's like I was telling you. I know in one of our other episodes we were talking about Family Guy moments. So I went ahead and off the cuff, a little bit of slight research, picked out 5 to 10 moments from Family Guy, and like I told you, uh, I'm 90 to 95%. These moments are, pretty similar that we can both appreciate these moments.
Okay.
So,
Are you just going to run down the list or are we going to go back and forth? What do you want to do?
so I can run down the list because they're in not any specific order of like I like this one better than this one or this is better than that. It's just I remembered that one number one. Remember this one number two.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's run down your list and then let's rank them. Like we can actually put them in
Cool.
order of like what we think is like okay, this one takes the cake compared to this one and like actually list them in order of like our favorites.
Cool. I like that. And anybody watching this episode for this one, leave us a comment with your favorite moments of Family Guy. And if one of these moments are in your list, let us know in the comments as well throughout this episode. So if anybody's watching and likes any of these. So, number one, the clam chowder episode where Lois is making, or it was Peter, Stewie, Brian, and Chris. They're all sick, and then Lois comes in with who wants chowder, and then they all throw. They were taking the medicine. I forget what type of medicine it was, but it makes you kind of barf. I think they were doing it. It was the challenge. They were like, okay, let's take this and see who's gonna be the first one to throw up. And so they all just take it, and it just backfires on them. And then Lois comes in at the last moment. Who wants chowder? Then they all throw up.
So the best is they all drink it and then they're sitting there and it's like
Yeah.
it's like dead silent for like a few seconds and Peter's like, well, this seems to be going well so far. And
Yeah.
I
And, yeah,
I think
I don't really know what they're like.
yeah.
And we'll have like the little clips going
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
too, because we'll take all the clips from these. But yeah,
Yeah,
that just came
100%.
off my head right away. That's got to be. And again, not the funniest one that I feel as because I mean I can't even really pick a funny one, like the best and funniest one. But like I said, we can rank them after. So yeah, clam chowder. Uh, Number two, and this is something I always reference. One of Joe's favorite lines that I always go when he's cemented into the ground, and that big rat comes out to him. And he's like, "Bring it on!" Just one of like the biggest lines that he's had, and it was I think it was from the first season. So you're just getting to know Joe, and that was one of his biggest lines, I think, of that season, and I reference that all the time.
I like it. Go ahead. And because you actually do say "bring it on" like a lot,
Yeah.
I'm like 100% an Anthony moment. Like I appreciate it, but it's not like anywhere near the top of my list. But go ahead, it's good.
Exactly. Uh, Number 3, the argument between Stewie and Brian, where Brian owes Stewie money, and they get into that spiel. Like, where's my money, man? Like, yeah, I'll have it for you next Tuesday. And he cracks him over the head.
It is so over the top violent. It's great. And then he gets
Uh-huh.
torched, and then he's like, all right, let's go to the bank. So-
How much you pay for that fake mustache? $2.99. Too good.
Too
Too
easy.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, and my phone keeps on going away. Okay, so one that you and me definitely like: Quagmire's Taylor Hanson. I'll let you take over this one.
Taylor Hanson's a guy. Dude, all of the beers that they were drinking, remember the table
Yeah.
was just like,
Just filled.
dude, I I think that the um so that's like that's the Castaway episode, right? Where they get like swept off and they're like deserted on the island, right?
Yeah, I think that's like the perfect storm priority episode or something.
Yeah. So
And they had like the Jaws moment. They had when they're inside the boat, and they had the whole, like little Jaws episode, little part of it. Yeah, so they're referencing Jaws, I think,
dude,
too.
they're on the blow up float, which is all of like Quagmire's dolls, right? and then they turn and they're like, Peter, what are you eating? And it turns out to be Joe's legs.
Yeah. Yeah, that episode was so good.
Dude,
Just the fact that Taylor, he didn't even know Taylor Hanson was a guy, and he was so confident, like, Taylor Hanson. And Joe's like, Quagmire, Taylor Hanson's a guy. Oh my god, I got all these pictures.
dude, what a great show. And like, geez, am I even allowed to comment on this? Because what like 10, 15 years ago, remember when the cruise ship is going by them and all four of them are piled up on each other?
Yeah.
And, dude, they say the thing in English because it's like four dudes stacked on top of each other naked.
Yeah.
And then they repeat it in Spanish, but the derogatory line, instead of saying it in Spanish, they say fanny bandits, and I just lose it every time. Every time.
Yeah, it's like Spanish, like Fanny Bandits.
Wait, no. Oh, that is such a dime of an episode, because that is the that is the farting contest with Michael Moore.
Yes.
In the beginning of the episode, after his name is Seamus, the guy with the wooden arms and legs, right?
Yes.
And he's pulling down the map, right?
Yeah.
Because I just remembered that's Meg, hefty, wimpy. That and then he builds Lois the like the watch balcony. And then she's like, Peter, this doesn't feel very safe. And then she walks out on it and it just like collapses. That is such a good episode. There was so much funny. Oh my God. That is such a good one. Yeah. Okay.
It is.
Go ahead.
Peter and the chicken, all their fights. Epic. Now, this isn't necessarily funny, but like I said, like I tried to get like some variety and not be it all funny situations, but like the chicken fights, they were always, how many chicken fights were there? I think there were 2 or 3.
At least three.
Yeah. Now, I think the biggest one that coming off my head is the ending of one of them where they're at the airport and the chicken gets his head cut off by the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ending of that one. So I think that was probably one of my favorites out of the
I'm,
two or three.
I mean, one of the fights is in my absolute favorite episode of all time. So
Mm-hmm.
I can talk about that when we get to it. Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I think one of them, and if this might be the one that you're talking about, I think one of the other fights was when they were doing the Back to the Future priority and they bump into each other. And the guide says to the chicken, "Hey, man, don't worry about it. You may not ever even see him again." And he gives that like squinky eye. Yeah. Okay. Next one. This is another one that I usually reference too. Batman Cop. I forget the situation they were in, but they were all around the table. They're talking about something, and then all of a sudden Peter interrupts. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 Lois, this isn't my Batman Cup." Epic.
So good. I'm not sure I know what that I like. That doesn't ring a bell to me. I might, but I do. There's a couple of instances across the series where Peter will just say "whoa" like for
Right.
literally 30 seconds, and we're all sitting there like,
Just
and
waiting.
and then he just drops some really dumb line, and it's like, oh no, they got us again, right?
Uh-huh. Classic Family Guy. Uh you can't have this top 10 without this next one. Peanut butter jelly time.
Yeah,
I think if that's probably top 3. If you think of Family Guy, you're going to think of peanut butter jelly time.
yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's like a classic moment. Again, it's not like real far up there for me, but it's just people that don't watch Family Guy or haven't really,
Mhm.
they know that clip, right?
Right. Yeah, I know me and my band members when we were watching, the first few seasons of Family Guy, we would always reference peanut butter jelly time. And when we were at practice, if we were one of us was down or we were just not having it that day, one of us would just break out into that, and it would just cheer the whole room up, and would just you know take everything into, if we were all down, upset about something, somebody would break out into it, and just it would crack us all up. uh Another classic one that I feel, when Peter hurts his knee and he does the
For like a minute, for like a minute and a half. Yeah.
yeah, and just the fact, and I think again, Family Guy is uh known for just doing those long drawn out things, like when he's doing the and then it just cuts the commercial. Like, one of the things that they were always known for, just drawing it out, waiting for you to just be like, okay, you're done, and then commercial. So we are at number 9, when and I think this was a segue from another um episode. I forget how it starts out, but it's one of those cutaways where Peter is getting his vacuum fixed, and they say, "Oh, well, we got your vacuum fixed. We figured out it was just a meatball that was stuck in there." And Peter's like, "Well, did you save it?" He's like, "No." And Peter's like, "You bastard." It gets me every time.
So good. So good. So do we want to rank yours in order?
Well, we got one more,
Okay. Go
and
for it.
that is another one. that we love. Any segment with Ollie Williams and the Blackie weather forecast. Too
Oof.
good.
Yeah, it's raining sideways. Thanks, Ollie.
Thanks, Ali. I think the original just has to be obviously the best one because it comes out of nowhere. And
Well,
like,
it jumps
well,
back and
here's
forth. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and here's Ollie with the Ollie Williams with the Blackie weather forecast. How's it looking out there, Ollie? It's raining sideways. Where are you going after today, Ollie? Swimming pool.
Do you have an umbrella? Had one. Where is it? 3 miles up. Like, just the
3
back
miles up,
and
going
forth.
sideways. What kind of peanut did you want, Ollie? Chunky. Oh man, it's too
Okay.
good. It's too good.
Okay. So ranking them's going to be hard because, like, for me,
Yes.
it's like you said, it's not everything is like super funny.
Right.
Like the Peter knee situation, like that's just an iconic moment. The
Yeah.
Ollie Williams segments are just they're just hilarious every time. They
Right.
like 100% of the time will get you going.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And that's where I like this list that even though it was like fast and kind of just off the cuff, there are some moments that, like you just said, that aren't very funny, but they're iconic moments. So maybe they're not like a top 5, but they still hold ground with being in this top 10.
Right.
Where, like you said, the when Peter hurts his knee, it's funny, but it's not like, oh my god, I'm rolling over and dying laughing. Like, but I would think it may not reach the top 5, but it's definitely within this top 10.
All right. So now take your list. Let's take the first two and then say which one's better of the two, and then just each one after that say where do we want to slide it.
Cool.
It's going to get harder
So
along the way, but
exactly. And before we do this, is there any moments of Family Guy that you think off the top of your head before we rank these, that anything that should be included or something that comes off the top of your head with Family Guy?
all right. So I mean, I have like a handful that are like juggling around in my head. I don't have them written, so I don't know if you want
Right.
to type them or if you want me to send them to you. Then you can say, all right, maybe I'll write this one off my list, and maybe we'll throw this one in there for the ranking, right?
I'll put them in my phone as you're telling me. So there you go.
That's cool. I mean that episode with the Taylor Hanson, that whole episode is really, really pretty good. I know I talked about the road to the multiverse episode previously, because that episode in general for me is like there's so much happening because they transcend different multiverses where things are
Right.
like they show Meg, like hot Meg, and
Yeah.
then they're like, oh my god, is that Meg? And they're like, yeah, and she's still like a dog, she's still ugly.
Never gets any credit.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off of that, any moment where Meg is just completely like shut down or basically treated like she's the worst thing on like in the universe. I mean, even just Peter, like at one point, it's just like, "Shut up, Meg."
Shut up, Meg. Any shut up, Meg is just like, because it comes out of nowhere, and you think that she is like gonna get over, but then it's just out of nowhere. Shut up, Meg. Like,
yeah, dude. There are instances where Peter will just walk over, grab her head, and then just like fart on her face. Dude, it's so good.
When he picks his nose, and he's like, "Love you." Too
dude
good.
hold on. the panic room episode, you know, where
I
they're
was
all
just
hiding.
looking at that.
Yeah. So when they go to like take Meg, and they're all just in the panic room, just like like
And
they're like
then
they're like
go ahead.
they're literally like that's
And I think I remember it was either Lois or Peter. They were saying, "You have my daughter," and then the dude's looking at Meg and and he goes back to the screen. He's like, "That's your daughter?"
yeah, because thought it was a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that is oof. Okay. Um the Y2K episode, I know I've that
Mm-hmm.
it,
You mentioned that.
it's the episode that got me into Family Guy, and because of that, it's my favorite of all time.
Yes.
Um dude, when Peter walks out of the market and they're telling him, "Oh, the whole world's going to shut down. Y2K." And he goes,
Mm-hmm.
"No." And then he runs over. Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. Damn long you stealing Easter from Jesus.
Yeah.
The chicken fight is in that episode too.
Yes, I think one of the very first chicken fights were in that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And they run into Randy Newman, who's the guy who sings the Toy Story intro. And
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I think I was talking about that on one of the recent ones. That whole episode to me is just, it's like that episode. Dude, I mean the one we were talking about with the Taylor Hanson earlier, the multiverse episode.
Yeah.
Now I can't say like the whole episode, but when um when Brian takes Stewie with him and they're playing with like Frank Sinatra, and then
Yeah.
Brian brings Stewie back real late, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I just don't have an ear," and like his whole ear's gone. Oh yeah, some deer ate
Right.
it.
Oh my God.
that that moment's really good. The
Mm-hmm.
episode where um Peter thinks he's a genius, and it's because
Mm.
Lois is having him play like the kid version of whatever board game they're playing. I forget what.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
Dude, dude, and then he thinks he's super smart. Brian has him take the test, and
Yeah.
he, he's pulling the thing, and it's like spinning to. And he's just writing things on that. And then for the math section, he just pulls out an Asian kid and he's like, "Come on, do
Do
math."
math. uh, and that just reminded me of the same situation, but then when he's doing the animal thing, he rotates it. The cow says moo.
Ooh.
Of course, of course. And he writes
And he writes
it
down. Dude,
we could do a whole episode on like best moments of Peter Griffin. Just
oh God,
it's insane. But
I mean,
if you're talking episode moments and just episodes in general,
no, I think there's so much to talk about. It's like there's a whole category that you can do episode top to bottom, and then you can say like that can get ranked on its own, and then like just specific dynamics of the show, like the Brian and Stewie story is just, it's such a pivotal part of the whole show, right? Like it's so good.
Yeah.
It is so good. And like I could go on and on about all of that. I was getting the Sinatra thing was one. I was trying to get on board with the one. Oh, when they send Peter away to sensitivity camp. You know what episode I'm talking about, right? Where he comes back from sensitive.
If I see a clip, then yeah.
It's older. They ship him off to sensitivity camp, and then he comes back and he's basically like a chick, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes,
That's
yes,
that's
yes,
that's
yes.
an
I remember
old
now.
one. That one's really good. Um,
That was good. Yeah. Well,
the
one I wanted to reference, which we were
go for
no,
it.
sorry. One I wanted to reference was the Star Wars episode. If we're talking like episodes in a whole for a moment, Star Wars episode is so good. And I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. So seeing that in that type of way just made there were so many moments in that like where the aliens are playing the music and they're it's the live band playing for the people and they're like, okay guys, we're gonna play a little more songs unless you guys want to hear the same song again, and he's playing he's acting like he's the audience, play that same song, okay, same song, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I not really like, and when I say not really, I mean like really not really like a Star Wars person. Um,
Right,
I have watched the Blue Harvest episode, and I'm like, I would appreciate this a lot better if I knew like the dynamics that they were doing. But
exactly.
again, I remember they made Meg like some worm that was like not even an actual character on the show. So again, just them crapping on Meg. It's like,
Exactly. So you had to get Meg, but it's always just like, oh, we'll just crap on Meg for this one. We don't really have a spot for her. So we'll
it's
we'll add that as like, a special honorary episode for this.
yeah, yeah. Um, so if you're talking like Stewie being Darth Vader, which is hilarious because that's actually
So good.
a small tribute to Spaceballs, right? Because
Yes.
yeah. Um, can't not mention like the Stewie kills Lois and Lois kills Stewie episodes, right?
Uh-huh.
They're newer, and I've only seen them each like once, but they wind up being like dreams of some sort, from what I remember.
Right. Yeah, I
Um,
know one or two of them, it was more like, yeah, like they were dreaming, they wake up and it's, real life and they go, okay.
right.
But yeah,
Uh,
they were so well written.
yeah. The PTV one was real cool. Especially when he's like, "Yeah, you like that side boob? That's because that's my side boob," and it's like his.
Yeah.
But
What was his it was Pretoria that he named his own country.
yeah, yeah, that's yeah. Oh man, so good. I'm trying to think because like there's so much good Quagmire stuff that I can't even really like talk about because of
Oh yeah.
like who he is and like his character
Right.
arc, right?
And there was another Stewie and Brian moment that I was going to say, but since it is on the raunchier side, I wasn't going to say it.
Right.
If anything, maybe we'll say it at the end. If we have to cut it out, we'll say it. We'll cut it out.
That's fine.
But yeah, just there's so many good, and no matter the fact that, because I mean, obviously they've had a lot of controversial stuff, they've had a lot of like pushing the boundary moments, but just the pure funniness and like moments, and some that weren't even funny, but just moments of that show. I haven't watched a lot of the new episodes, but just the first like 1 to 4 seasons there's so much good stuff in there.
Yeah, I agree. It's either the first 4 or 5. Like I used to get those DVDs, like the seasons
Right.
for Christmas,
Uh-huh.
and dude, there's just so much in those earlier seasons. I did fall off of it, like sometime after season 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But like I remember, I remember when they killed off Brian. You remember that?
Yes.
So many people complained about it, and then they brought him back somehow. I forget how
Brought
they
it.
did it. I think they used like
I forgot
Stewie's.
to.
I think they used Stewie's time travel machine or something like that.
Yes, it was something of that sort that he had to go back in time to fix it, and then that's what brought him back. Which, again, pure epic writing to be able to, you know, think of something, I'm sure not necessarily that quick off the cuff, but like in order to, figure out something to bring him back for.
Right. Um, there's the one episode where like Stewie is like dressed up as a girl doing like the pageants.
Yeah.
they're, they're like on the road, like away from Quahog, and Brian finds out and he's like, Lois, I found out we can go back to Quahog, and she's like, oh yeah, I know Brian, and he's like, what do you mean you know?
No, wait, what?
Like she like actually enjoyed their life. They were in Texas, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. Now I'm remembering. Yeah, they were like, something was wrong with their house or something, and then they had to, do like a small mini vacation while something was going on in their house, and then they're like, oh well, we could have went home a long while ago, but they just kept on staying there.
I forget. Didn't they take Stewie to get baptized, and then like the holy water was like tainted or something? I might be thinking of a different episode.
Yeah, maybe a different episode, but
yeah,
I don't really remember that one. But yeah,
it's been like, for anyone watching,
1 week.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen those earlier episodes of Family Guy, but like, yeah, I mean, there's now I'm just like trying to remember things and grasp with them. So like, let's talk about the list that you have and try to finesse.
And
them
I think
somehow.
that was good. We went into some episodes that like we, love too. So we're breaking down a lot, which is good. But now we'll take these 10.
Honorable mention. Every time that, anytime that Cleveland goes, oh no, 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 no.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say that too. Yeah, he just goes right down to the top, like, no, 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 no.
Oh, and Loretta.
Loretta.
Because she's like, and he's like,
oh, Loretta.
Yeah.
And also one more before we get into the top 10.
All right. Well, because I got another one too. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll do back and forth one more time. But when Peter finally puts out about Joe's wife being pregnant for so many seasons, and it just totally just you've been pregnant for 4 or 5 seasons. When are you gonna have this kid?
Yeah, shut up, Bonnie. You've been pregnant for like 6 years.
It's awesome.
Okay,
so what was your moment?
So, I think Peter's going to buy Meg a car, and then the salesman is like, "We have this tank over here." And,
oh yeah.
And Peter's like, now, what would I need with a tank? And the sales guy's like, did I mention the tank's a tank? And Peter's like, sold. And, and dude, when they ride it up the street and it runs over Joe's legs, and Peter's like, you look like half-empty toothpaste.
Christ.
So good.
Oh, so man.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So let's do the ranking.
Let's break down the 10 moments that we did in the beginning of the episode. And again, guys, if you're up to this point, let us know in the comments that if you guys are liking this stuff. We'd love to break down more like TV shows as well. Let us know your favorite moments, funny moments, episodes of Family Guy if you're a Family Guy, fan. So we'd love to just let you guys we would want to know what your favorite moments or like episodes are. So let us know in the comments. So, like you said earlier, I'm gonna go and do the first two. We'll see which one we like better, and then we'll just keep on adding to that and kind of make like an almost like a new list in a way. So, uh, clam chowder or bring it on.
I feel like the segment with the clam chowder and all of the vomiting, it's just I feel like it's longer. It has a little bit more substance to it. I feel like Joe just going bring it on. It's just like a memorable, quick moment,
Yeah,
right?
it's more like a quote than a moment.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
I th-
think
I'm
clam
pretty
chowder definitely kicks that better than the bring it on.
I'm pretty sure that that moment is actually from the Y2K episode because he gets like mounted
It
into the
could
ground,
be
and then the rat's super huge because of like the
the
radiation.
radiation. Yes.
And that's when you got Quagmire like fused into Cleveland.
Yeah.
And
And is that the same episode where Stewie like gets in the radioactive waste and then he starts having tentacles and everything?
yep,
Okay.
that's such a good episode, man. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Again, so much good stuff.
Yeah.
So clam chowder wins that. Uh, Stewie and Brian's "Where's My Money" moment, and Taylor Hanson. That's hard
Oh god, this is like not even fair.
because they're like you just said with the whole clam chowder. They're both long segments, so but they're not like boring. Like every moment of that, like kind of keeps you like going to get to that punchline.
yeah, I'm trying to dismiss like so for me the Taylor Hanson moment, right? Like whenever I think of that moment, it makes me think of the whole episode and how great the whole episode is.
Hmm.
So if I dismiss that and just thought that segment versus like Stewie basically like beating the
Whoopsie.
out of Brian
Hmm.
for his money, it's so over the top and just I would actually give it to that rather than the Taylor Hanson thing. I just
I was thinking the same thing.
I
It's a hard win, but yeah, I would say the "Where's My Money" portion, just because Stewie is beating the whoopsie out of Brian, and it's just a out of nowhere, and he's been letting it go for the whole episode, and then he finally just snaps.
and like nonchalant snaps too.
Yeah,
He's like barely even yelling at him. It's just how violent that he's being. It's
right.
like
This is good, OJ. Smash right in his face.
dude, he like slams him into the like the stereo sound system downstairs before he torches him. And it's
Yeah,
like, oh my god,
right,
this is after he pushes him down the steps and he, flips
right.
all over the place. Yeah, that would be it for me. What are your next two?
The next two, all right, this is a lot easier. Uh, Peter and the chicken fights or Batman Cup.
Fights.
I think we can easily both say the fights are a lot easier. Uh, Next two, this could be a decent one to debate. Peanut butter jelly time or Peter's knee situation when he hurts his knee.
Yeah, so again, neither one are like wicked funny for me. But they're
Right.
definitely iconic moments. So I do like them two going up against each other.
And they're both moments coming out of nowhere. Like it's not a setup, it's more just they come out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because I almost lean into the peanut butter jelly time because it's like, music. It's a song and dance. He's in the banana costume. It's silly, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Peter knee thing is just like, okay, he's just aching at his bum knee for
Right.
a long time, which is just like you're sitting there and you're like, they're really dragging this out. It's kind of like, and we didn't mention this, but it's definitely a memorable moment. It's when Stewie goes, Mom, 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 Mommy, Mama, Mom,
Mama,
Lois,
mama.
Lois. And then she's
What?
like, what? And he's like, hi.
Hi.
And then he just scurries off. It's it's kind of like one of those moments where it's like really long and drawn out and silly, and
Right.
the payoff is literally just like hi, and it's like, wow, they really trolled us there, right?
Exactly.
I will give it to the peanut butter jelly time. That would be me.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the nail with that. Uh, Peanut butter jelly time, because of the fact that, they both come in out of nowhere, but, you know, I think the song kind of gives it more,
It's got a little
essence
bit
than,
of an edge, yeah.
yeah, than just when Peter is, falls and just holds that maybe for about like 10-15 seconds. Funny, but I think the peanut butter jelly time holds a little more weight in that aspect. So last two, Meatball in the Vacuum or Ollie Williams in the Blackie Weather Forecast.
Blackie weather forecast all day, every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
100%. Okay, now take the 5 that we picked
Mm-hmm.
and then try to rank the top 5.
So we have and I'm just gonna name the 5
Mhm.
that we won from each of those. So clam chowder, Where's My Money, uh, Taylor Hanson, chicken fights, peanut butter jelly time, and Ollie Williams. Making sure I added 5 there. 1, 2, 3,
6.
4. Yeah. So there was one that we didn't. I think yeah. Well, we got 5 or 6 there. But because I didn't really edit at the time. But yeah. So we got definitely these top 3. Clam chowder, Where's My Money, Taylor Hanson. So out of those 3,
I would eliminate Taylor Hanson first because I think the other 2 are just they're longer segments, right?
yeah.
And like, okay, so for the Who Wants Chowder and like they're throwing up, excuse me, they're throwing up a ton, right?
Right.
I think it's how they're throwing up though, because it's like beyond projectile vomit, and they're like throwing up on each other, and
Right.
it's just a lot. I think that like the Where's My Money Man fight, that whole segment just has a lot of dynamic
Yeah.
to it overall. That will take it for me.
Yeah. Because like you said, it starts from earlier in the episode and kind of just elevates throughout it, and then at the end it just escalates into this big, fight scene. So
Wait,
yeah.
isn't Brian like dodging Stewie, and then
Yes.
he's upstairs, and Stewie's just playing putt putt outside the bathroom?
Yeah. And he's just being so nonchalant with, he's like, hey man, you said you were gonna give me my money. He's like, yeah, I'll give it to you. Like he's just like taking his time. Brian's taking his time. He's like, all right, man, but you keep on saying it. And he's like, yeah, don't worry, Stu, I'll get your money.
Yeah, and after the fact, he's like, "Yeah, clean yourself up." Throws on the towel.
Yeah, clean yourself up. Is totally playing like the Italian mobster in the way like of saying like, hey, where's my money? Where's my money? I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. All right, man, keep on saying. And then it just totally swaps out.
Next three.
So, uh, Hollywood. So we did the top three, and I think these are, yeah, I think this is kind of where it led off. The last top five, which were the top two, were Ollie Williams and the chicken fights. So I'm probably going to still go Ollie Williams over the chicken fights.
See, the thing with the chicken fights is and I love the Ollie Williams stuff because it's short and it's fast. And it just, every time it's just like, oh my God, like 100% of the time it's hilarious. The reason why I will go with the chicken fights is because of the creativity in the fighting sequences that they do. Like they're transitioning from this setting to that setting. Like they're hanging off the top of a tractor trailer. They go up a bridge that's opening, and then they wind up latching onto a helicopter, and then it takes them to New York City. It's like it's so much.
Again, just out of nowhere.
Yeah. But again, like I am looking at things where it's like, okay, as the writers, as the creators of the show, I'm thinking about like how invested that they are in these sequences versus sometimes it is just the simple things like Ollie Williams, and it's just a quick in and out, quick in and out, quick in and out. And just going back to the Y2K episode again, where it's Tom Tucker, right? Is the anchor?
Yes.
Him and I forget his dynamic with the other anchor is hilarious. But they like, I forget who goes into the news station and finds them eating Trisha Takanawa.
Takanawa, yeah.
The Asian reporter. And they're like, man, we should really be eating her with chopsticks, shouldn't we? I was just like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Again, just the matter of everything they got away with, it would never work like within the last like 2-3 years if a lot of those episodes came out in the last 2-3 years.
Well, the thing is like they are still on TV now because of like the generational audience that they captured 15-20 years ago when the show first came out, because they're still releasing that stuff. And your like woke generation is like, oh no, that's not okay, that's not correct, like we can't. And I'm like, it's a show, it's like not that super serious. So like I said, if that show came out 3 years ago, it would have been dead already. It
Absolutely.
It would be gone. I think what's a new show that's out that tests, like pushes the envelope, but is still a thing? I would immediately say Rick and Morty and Big Mouth, which is like, I'm talking like animated series that are still like really testing the waters, right? I'm not saying South Park or The Simpsons because they've been out for decades, right? I'm talking like
they're already established and we know. But yeah, Rick and Morty is a good one, and I don't know enough. I haven't watched enough episodes to really comment on it, but I know it enough to be like, yeah, I know they've had moments where they like try to push the boundaries of, going off of like things like Family Guy and, South Park, where those are the, cartoons and animated TV shows that were known to push a lot of boundaries just to see how far they can go without getting canceled.
I think the big thing with Rick and Morty is honestly how insane that the art is, actually, because they do so much with like space and time travel and just how wild that like it's very artistic. Like for me, I appreciate it because I'm like watching it, I'm like, this is wild one, that they thought to do this, and two, the visual presentation of the show is like, I have a lot of respect for it, given I haven't watched a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have watched a little bit here and there, enough to know, like, okay, it's pretty brilliant all around. That's definitely
Right.
a show that I would like to get more involved with. I like
Right.
I would go
Same.
back to season 1, and maybe this is something you and I can do, because, like, are you watching anything right now, like, on a regular basis?
Not like that. I mean, I haven't really gotten into like a animated series like Family Guy in a while. So Rick and Morty would be so. I think I tried to catch on and watch it a little here and there, but then I just got out of it. So it's like one of those things. I would be like, I'd be willing to, you know, binge a couple of seasons and you know, kind of see how it goes.
All right, so maybe for one of the upcoming episodes, we can do like a recap of season 1 and 2 or something like that.
Right.
Because this has been a lot of fun. I mean, we're just recapping Family Guy here and just going off memory.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like, I haven't seen any of the things we just talked about in the last 45 minutes for, like, probably years, honestly.
Yeah, it's
It's
been a good bit of time, and it was cool to kind of remember a lot of those things and how quickly we remembered a lot of those episodes just by memory and going off the cuff with it.
Yeah, I mean, that was like, hello, words. The end of high
Mhm.
school, entering college. So we're going 15, almost 20 years ago now, is when I first got into Family Guy. And um yeah, man, this has been a lot of fun, just like recapping. And I feel like the top moments, like, that we just went through, um yeah, they're great moments, and there's a lot of really subtle short moments that it's
Yes.
like, it's just so hard to keep up with all of them. So I I would be more enticed to do like Rick and Morty, just because there's not that many seasons. It's fairly new. But
Hmm.
at some point down the
Yeah. Yeah.
road, I'd like to go back and actually start Family Guy from the beginning, and just go back and be like, oh my God, I forgot how absolutely
Yes.
brilliant this show was, you know? Um,
Absolutely. I would totally do that 100%.
yeah.
Start Family Guy from season 1, episode 1, and just binge everything again. I would definitely do that.
Well, maybe that should move its way up our list, since we are longtime fans of the show. Just
Absolutely.
haven't been invested in the newer episodes. Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, and I know we haven't mentioned any sports at all, and that's cool. Kept it that way, but now that the Phillies are done,
Hmm.
I'm like, and I gotta say, hats off to the Phillies.
Yes. Shouts out to the Phillies. They had a great year.
They they had a very interesting year. We never thought that they would have gotten to the World Series. Um, their ride was definitely unique. I hope that they can come back strong, and um, next season should be interesting. We'll see. We got the Eagles now to look forward to. They are
8-0.
currently 8-0. Um, and dude, I'm looking at like the rest of the season, like, who's going to hand us that loss if we're going to eat one. I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we're going to go undefeated. Like, I think that
No.
that's
We'll
far out
definitely
there.
get like I'm thinking we'll definitely get 2, if not 3 losses.
Well, I think if they clinch like a playoff berth, they're going to put in
Oh
all
yeah.
their second and third string guys to keep their top guys rested, right?
Oh
So
yeah, you only need 12 games to really clinch uh home field and the division, I think. So they only really need to win 4 more games to really be in that clinch spot. So,
which
it's
I
going to be interesting. I think they can do it.
I mean, the postseason for the Eagles to me is it's happening. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people out there that are like, "Oh yeah, the Steelers went 11-0 a couple years back, and then like lost their last 3 in a row, and then they went into the postseason and lost like the first game. I think it was.
Yeah.
Um, so
So did the Cowboys.
yeah, well, yeah, um, yeah, they went 13-3 that one season and lost the first
Yep.
round. So like,
The first game.
yeah, I mean, and that was the thing with the Phillies. It's like they got into the wild card, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're done first round."
Yeah, they're going to be out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they beat the Cardinals. They beat them in the first 2 games, and the Cardinals
Mhm.
had home field for all 3 in the wild card round. And I was like, yeah, but they're probably not going to get past the Braves because the Braves were like the defending champions.
Defending champs, and they beat I was like, wow, they beat
Yeah,
the champs.
they beat them, and then they went on to beat the Padres. I was like, huh, they're
Yeah.
they're actually going to the World Series, and I
Which I
mean,
was very surprised. I mean, it's
yeah,
one thing going off the momentum, but like, it's like, when does that because obviously the momentum's eventually going to stop, and hopefully it doesn't stop to the point where they win the whole thing. You know, it's just unfortunate that after that third or fourth game, it just kind of started making a switch. You can just tell something was off.
it
But
was it
yeah.
was so we won game 1
Mm-hmm.
in Houston, and I was like, we only needed to win one of the 2 games,
Yep.
and then we just needed to bring it home and win the 3 games in Philly. And
Mm-hmm.
because we crushed game 3, I was like,
Yeah.
they're going to win the whole
Dude.
thing.
I was definitely like, oh my God, I think we're about to be going down Broad Street again.
Yeah, they had 5 home runs and won the game 7-0 game 3 in Philly. I was like, Astros are toast. They're
Yeah.
done. And then we couldn't pull off game 4, which was last Wednesday. Oh,
Right.
jeez. So every Wednesday in October when I was teaching in Limerick, the Phillies lost. I almost took off Wednesday because I was like, I can't go to work. But I was like, I'm not going to take the hit financially and then them lose, because then I'd just be mad at myself for doing it. Right.
Right.
So
I just got to say this before we get out of here too.
yeah.
That I haven't. I gotta say, for you being your first year that you followed a team from preseason all the way to a World Series, I don't know how many people can say that they followed a team that made it from preseason all the way through their season to postseason and made it to a World Series. Unfortunately, the ultimate thing would have been seeing that team win the World Series. But I gotta say, for you clinching onto a team for a first time, hell of a season to do it, because you were able to see from point A to point B and almost, the motherland of what we would have seen a World Series. But hopefully next year, we'll be back here, and hopefully we won't have to be doing a wild card situation. We'll be hopefully already in the playoffs, because I think we got a good team. I mean, I think I heard there was a lot of free agency that's going to be going on, so I'm not sure if we're going to be getting a lot of those same players back or if people are going to be renewing contracts. The whole spiel. But I think we could definitely get some. I think we definitely have a good Phillies team, and they'll definitely be contending. Hopefully, depending on who's coming back next year.
Yeah, I just think the people that I know that they've either let go or free agencies are a thing, I'm like 100% to every single one of them. There's not one person that I'm like, are you kidding me? You needed to keep that person. I was like, yep,
Mm,
nope, They had to go. They had to go. All of them. So like they they're not on vacation. Like they're still like, okay, we got work to do for next season and we got to start now. And that's why I'm like,
Right.
that's what I like to see. I like to see that they're not just quiet. Like things are happening immediately, which is good because I mean,
Yeah.
for a team that goes to the World Series and is playing in the first week of November, like, yo, preseason's in like February. You don't have that much of a break. Like, things have to happen
I was gonna
now.
say there's like 140-ish days until, spring break gets here, and we're thinking baseball again. So like you said, before you know it, be thinking about the next season. So like you said, you have no time to really be like, all right, well, let's just take a month off. We just got done doing a whole big thing. But no, I mean, business is business. You got to start making those calls and doing this and that. So I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of, you know, updates on what Phillies guys are going to be sticking around, who's going to get maybe a new contract, who's going to be getting money. And that, I mean, a lot of that stuff I don't always pay attention to, but obviously now, since we're wondering who's going to be coming back, who's going to get signed, so it'll be interesting to see what the Phillies do from here until, you know, spring break and the new season comes.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, it's a bummer. It was pretty depressing to see them lose, but at the same time, I was like, just because they didn't get the job done now, uh, I can't deny the time and energy and like just personal investment in like becoming a real fan.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I was wearing my hats, I was wearing my shirts, and
Yeah.
now I'm like, same time I'm like, you know what? I was in the store the other day and someone was wearing like a Yankees hat, and I wanted to be like, yeah, the Yankees got swept by the
Yeah.
Astros. I wanted to be cheap like that, and at the same time I was like, no, 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 they're supporting their team. Like that's who
Mm-hmm.
they're fans of, and I'm like, I shouldn't just not wear like my gear because my team lost. Like they
Right.
a true fan is going to be there through and through, and I now have
Yep.
a way different appreciation for that. I do think that they get a World Series win at some point with Harper on the team. I
Yes.
I don't see it any other way. I just I if he signed that huge money deal and doesn't win a World Series with the Phillies, I will be completely shocked
Mm-hmm.
after the fact. But other
Yeah,
than,
man.
other than
It's
that,
cool, man. I gotta say, it's just been cool to kind of just see you become more enriched into that Philly season, and like, it's one thing following everything, but you were invested,
yeah,
and it was cool to just see you like happy to watch, like, something, and be committed and like invested in, to be like, hey, there's a game on, I'm watching. And I'm sure it helped that Cheyenne was already a Phillies fan, so it helped you stay committed. But it was cool to see that you were so invested in something outside of dance. I mean, dance is your life, dance is your passion, but it's cool to see something outside of that that gives you that same, energy to be like, yeah, I gotta make sure I go see this. So
right,
it was cool.
yeah. I mean, and like with Jen, there are things that you've latched onto that you're like, maybe I should get into this, and it'll help our bond strengthen a little bit.
Yeah.
Given that dance is not like a like Cheyenne gets it. She knew me from way back in the day.
Right.
But um, she played sports in high school, and
Hmm.
since then, like, was always pretty committed to watching. Like, I know she was really into the Flyers. Um, she loves Tyrese Maxey on the Sixers. She just it's her
Yeah.
that's her guy. Um, and then obviously, she's a Steelers fan, but she knows that they're like rebuilding, so
Hmm.
she's on the Eagles train right now.
Right. Right. Right.
But
Right. Right.
we also we also like weren't super invested in watching the Eagles games, and not that we didn't watch them, but
Mhm.
now that the Phillies are done, Sixers, it's early in the season. Like you can't really, I mean, they just beat the Suns. Like Devin Booker didn't have any he didn't score anything in the fourth quarter last night from what I heard. And
Yeah.
I heard Embiid like really showed up last night. So
Yeah. I have yet to see a Sixers game yet, but I got to get on it because obviously the first couple games they were, losing, so I'm like, all right, well this season's going to be great. But then again, at an 82 game season, you're going to have your streaks of losses, streaks of wins. So it's like baseball. You have a long season. So as long as you're not getting 10 and 20 losses in a row, you're fine. You can, get back in the rhythm. But yeah, I'll definitely get back into, some Sixers because, like I said, I think they got the team. Are they championship ready? I don't know, but we can be saying something different come playoff season depending on how they do. We'll see what they're like come All-Star weekend in February and see where they're at. And then that'll kind of know if they're, in contendance for playoffs, where that'll end. But again, just like baseball, you gotta just continue to just see where they're going, and as the season goes they're just going to be making adjustments. So we'll be you know doing our little recaps of some Sixers, and we'll continue to do recaps of Eagles. If you guys are liking all that, let us know in the comments, man. uh but this has been fun, along with doing the Family Guy stuff. We did a little bit of recap, showing Philly some love. uh you know I know you've had a busy couple days. I'm just coming off of a trip from Florida for work, and my son went to Disney for the first time, so he had a blast. So we're all just getting back into reality. So yeah, man. Do you have any more to say until we sign off here?
nah, I mean, I will do. And when I say nah, I am totally about to say. I'm about to say something, and I I don't want to keep this going for like too long, and we don't even have to talk
Yeah,
like wrestling for real long. They did just have Crown Jewel, and the most notable thing was Logan Paul and Roman Reigns was actually a really good match. So I don't know if you
yeah.
had the chance to catch it yet.
I
Um,
haven't had the chance to see the full match. I've just seen highlights, and the highlights that I've seen are awesome.
yeah, I
So
mean,
I definitely got to see the full match.
it's fun, man. And actually, the if you can watch the tag team match with the Usos and the Brawling Brutes,
Okay.
um, I almost thought the Usos were losing at towards the end a couple of times. I was
Mm.
like I got pretty soaked. It was a I mean, I sat through and watched the show, like the whole thing.
Right.
There were definitely moments where I was like kind of not paying attention on my phone, obviously, but
Yeah.
it all in all was a really well done show. I am really excited to see what they're doing for Survivor Series War Games. I'm definitely watching that one. That is,
That looks pretty cool, and I'll definitely be watching that one. I was, unfortunately for Crown Jewel, I was getting back on the plane from Florida, getting everything. I saw a couple updates, but I didn't get to see any of the show. So I'll definitely get to watch Logan Paul and Roman. I'll take you up on that tag team match, and I'll definitely let you know what I think about it.
all right. Yeah, and the the Lashley Lesnar match was pretty good. It's to me they're having their match at Mania. Like we're still
Yeah,
gonna get that
that's what they're
there.
building up to.
I,
Hmm.
I I think that they just wanted to pull the trigger on that because it was a Saudi Arabia event, and they're like, all right, well they paid us a ton of money, so we need to give them like pretty good matches. So I think that they were like, all right, let's just do this now. And I feel like they just laid the groundwork for their inevitable Mania match. It's fun to watch, but you could honestly go back and watch it like before their next match at Mania.
Right.
It's not like must see stuff right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Other
Absolutely.
other than that, bro, yeah, I know you had a busy week. I've been pretty busy myself. So let's get wrapped up. Let's get some rest, and we will reconnect next time if you're good with that.
Absolutely, man. Thank you all for watching again. This has been One Set. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Love y'all. Love you, bro.
Love you too, man.